Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining my event today. We still are going to wait for some people to join in. We'll give it about a minute, see so far how many people have joined, and then we'll give it a go. We have a lot of ground to cover today, starting from the Partner Connect program to the overview about VCPP, and then touching a little bit on the Velocloud part. This is the latest inclusion on the VCPP portfolio. So we still are just waiting for some more people to join in. Today's presentation, the biggest takeaway for you is how this program works, how you can sign up for it, how to address the questions that you have around the Partner Connect, how it benefits you, and also how you can contact our team at Ingram Micro. So any questions in this process are highly appreciated. You can speak up if you can tell me if you can hear me okay. Okay, so we are good to go. So once again, I welcome you all to our Ingram Micro live event for VMware Cloud Provider Program. My name is Umer. I'm the product manager for VCPP program. It's a consumption model under the bigger portfolio of VMware. Stands for VMware Cloud Provider Program. Had different names throughout the process, starting as of VCAN program, which stood for VMware Cloud Network, and then it moved up to VSPP, which is VMware Service Provider Program. And as the market shifted a little bit, it moved to a VCPP program now called VMware Cloud Provider Program. Let's talk about the agenda. Next slide. So we have a lot of ground to cover today. We're going to talk a little bit about the Partner Connect program, the program requirements, and then we're going to talk a little bit about, because this is about VCPP, we're going to talk more about the VCPP qualification criteria, how you can judge which model of VCPP suits you the best. As of my LinkedIn post as well, I mentioned that this is actually one program with two distinct segments to it. One is the rental model. The other one is called the MSP model. We're going to talk a little bit about both today, and then how this program can help you generate more revenue, add a more revenue stream to your business portfolio. So we're going to talk a little bit about Velocloud, how that program works, and then at the end, we're going to talk a little bit about Ingram Micro portfolio. Let's move on to the next slide. Next one. So, as I mentioned about the Partner Connect program, since February 29th of this year, VMware has moved on to a new structure. It's actually an overhaul to a structure they have been following, which had a staircase model. Previously, if you were planning to join VMware, you had about 5 statuses. Number one is the enrolled. It's just signing up for VMware. That doesn't really allow you to do anything, but it actually gives you a read-only access. So just to talk about a little bit of a history about the Partner Connect, the next step was joining in as a professional. That came up with a fee associated to it, which was around $495 US, and it would give you a certain accessibility, certain pricing levels. Moving onwards, you were joining in as an enterprise partner, which would give you a better access to better pricing. It would give you access to deal registration, and it would still have its own limitations in terms of its application. Certain things you cannot access, certain things you can access. And then the highest level was premier level, where you would be able to go up for ELAs and SPF with special pricing and special margins on special deals, and a bit of help from VMware from the marketing standpoint. And then that program actually went pretty well. But the problem with that program was it would not actually allow you to differentiate per se in terms of your technical capabilities. And this is where VMware thought quite a lot. And February 29th of this year, they moved on to a program called Partner Connect. The key focus of this program is to give you a differentiation point in terms of technicalities and technical capabilities you have. Also, during this process, you would be able to earn some points, which you can consume in certain levels of the program, which they call the credit points. Can you move on to the next slide, please? So overall, the structure of the program is, as I mentioned before, it's majorly focused on your competency level and not exactly your investment level. So it's not how much money you have, but actually which direction you're going into is becoming more focus of this program. And this helps the partner. The feedback that we have been getting from the partner is it helps you differentiate your selling point technically, your master competency with the partner first approach. That's one of the things that this program have done. It's another thing, it actually simplifies one big problem. So if you wanted to be a service provider at that time, previously, you had to go through a separate set of documentation called CTA process or click-through agreement process, which was another set of documentation that you had to go through to be able to qualify for a cloud provider program. But now it's one agreement with one documentation. So once you join in Partner Connect, you can do everything. This is another simplification that VMware has done. It ties up to your go-to-market strategy. Whether you want to go to end-user computing segment, you increase your competency level in that segment, and it would give you a better pricing and a better approach in terms of your level. So you can be a partner, you can be advanced, you can be principal in those certain domains that you want to focus on. It helps you differentiate, and you get rewarded for what you do instead of the extra set of checkboxes that you were trying to fill in before. So what we have heard back from the partners is it's very collaborative ecosystem approach to the market. It's completeness of the vision and execution. Customer invest in you for a longer term, and clients also, partners and your clients also understand the investment that they're going for. Now, a little bit of portion at the bottom of this slide might give you an indication of what the base requirements are. The foundation requirements are you need to have VSP foundation, you need to have the ethics and compliance training and due diligence questionnaire filled up, and the program fee. By the way, the program fee has a promo running on it. It's the program fee to join in now. And this is another differentiator between the previous version of VMware approach versus now, which was previously you were investing based on your partnership level. So if you're a professional, you're investing about $495 every year. Going to enterprise, you were investing around $2,000, and going to Premier, you were investing around $5,000. Now you only have one fee to go for, which is $895. And by the way, this is the best time to join in because there's a promo running on it, which offers you a 50% reduction in that fee. So if you join in now, your fee will be applicable around in August, and that will be still a 50% of $895. One of the key things, especially from a cloud provider perspective, is that you need to have, apart from other technical bases that you need to have, for example, VSP foundations and certification levels, you need to have a VOP-CP. That's called VMware Operations Professional Cloud Provider. That is an accreditation that you need to have in order to be a part of cloud provider program or VCPP in general. We also have VOP-SE, but that's not required for the cloud provider program. But generally speaking, VOP-SE stands for VMware Operations Professional Subscription Enabled, and that actually offers you the capability of selling subscription-based services like Workspace ONE and Horizon Cloud and all of that sort. But for the key takeaway for the cloud providers in this case is going to be that you'll be you need to have the VOP-CP accreditation with you. Next slide, please. As I mentioned before, the VCPP program or VMware Cloud Provider program has a qualification criteria. You need to know why you want to join VMware. So in the previous slide, we discussed about a whole different range of things that you can do, and whatever ties up with your business model or your go-to-market strategy. If you want to join in as a service provider or a cloud provider or an MSP, you need to identify which segment you want to step into. So there are two distinct segments. So one is the cloud provider when you want to build up your own data center and you want to host the licenses and then top it up with your own PSO services in the process. And that's called VCPP rental model. It's a consumption-based model. And that's the first part where you say, I want to build a service utilizing VMware, offering myself in my own data center. That's the license rental, or utilizing VMware cloud services. And that's a time where you want to capitalize or leverage upon VMware's data centers. So if you don't want to invest too much into the data center of your own, there is a second option, which is called MSP. In both programs, there's one thing common, that is that you'll be owning the terms of service. Another big major difference between the perpetual licensing versus the cloud provider version of the licenses is that in the perpetual licensing, the end user owns the license. He would be able to switch around if he wants to, but generally speaking, he would be the owner of the license, and you, as a service provider, would be a transaction party in this process. In the cloud provider program, you take a little bit more responsibility and you own the license. And that is what the key difference is between the reseller model versus being a cloud provider. So when you're a reseller, you're selling perpetual licensing, where you're not owning it, but you're actually capitalizing on the opportunity itself. It's more transaction-based approach. But when you're in the cloud provider program, you're owning and taking a lot more responsibilities, especially when it comes to license terms ownership and giving support to your customers. And it is a bigger revenue opportunity in a sense that you can top up everything that is offered by VMware with your own PSO or professional services with it. Next slide. So as I mentioned before in the previous slide, there are two things that are happening here. The two models, as my LinkedIn post has also identified, the two models in the VCPP. One is called the rental model and the other one is called the MSP. Let's dive into it. The rental model is the blue one here in the arrow, where you would be having your own data center and you'll be hosting licenses on your own premise, and then you'll be selling it off to your customers, offering different kind of services on top of that. It's a white labeling. The greener part is what we call MSP, or the managed service provider division or segment of VCPP program. Now, as you can see, the difference between the two is that in the blue segment or in the rental model, you have access to a full stack of VMware products, from vSphere to different other products that they've offered, NSX or in the compute domain. But when it comes to the greener part, which is the managed service provider, you don't have everything available. They're constantly expanding on it. VMware is expanding on it. So different services are offered, such as VMC and AWS, such as mobility services, such as Workspace ONE, Horizon Cloud services, Cloud Health. These are the key things at the moment that are offered. Velocloud is also another new inclusion in this program, where you'll be able to leverage upon VMware's data center. On the rental side, however, you'll have access to a bigger stack of licenses excluding those SaaS services that are offered in the greener part. Next slide. So diving a little bit deeper into the definitions at this point, the service, when you're in the rental model, you're going to leverage upon VMware software licenses to build on your own infrastructure. The managed services program is partners purchase VMware cloud services and offer managed services on top to resell to their customers, and service provider would be owning the services. Now, any services that the partner provides to end user compute utilizing VMware technology is considered to be a hosted IT service. So one of the key things, or in a simplified manner, when you're offering hosted IT services from your own data center, it's the license rental model. If you're doing it from VMware's data center, that's called the MSP program. This program does not encompass reselling of VMware software to the end user. The partner must accept responsibility for and maintaining sole rights of the software. So that's the ownership of the licenses. You cannot resell those licenses to the customers. Next slide, please. So generally speaking, let's talk about the blue segment as we talked about in the previous slide, the license rental model. The basic flow of the process is that Ingram Micro will be an aggregator. We'll be managing your billings and your consumptions in terms of your reporting. And that's the most we would be doing in this case. Once you sign up for this program, those licenses will be available to you in your My VMware account, and you'll be able to deploy them as you go. Ingram Micro will not be able to, intervene into this process, but we can escalate any support level to VMware if required. And we have had those experiences where the usage meter was not properly installed, or certain products were not available in the database that was offered through VMware, and we had to go off with one-off ordering process. But generally speaking, our job is, as an aggregator, would be to keep an eye on the usage. If you're going really good, we will talk to you about different opportunities and different segments you can explore. If your usage is being dropped, then we can discuss with you. Every 3 months, we have meetings with our partners where we discuss the cloud strategy for the next 12 months. And that actually opens up a lot of avenues for a lot of partners. In this process, from setting up your contract in the business portal, and we're going to talk about a little bit about the business portal in the next slides, but at this stage, just to let you know, Ingram Micro, what we will be doing in this process is to assist you and educate you and enable you with the access of those softwares and helping you realize and execute the plan or go-to-market strategy you have for the cloud. License rental is, this segment is for the partners. You'll be committing to a rental agreement. There are 7 different levels, starting as low as 360 points. And we are just talking about the rental model at this stage. And as I mentioned before, it's a consumption-based model. So the consumption is your whole network usage in general, and you're powered on VMs. So we'll discuss with you. There are different 7 levels, starting as low as 360 points to 100,000 points and even beyond, for which we have offerings. And we can assist you to isolate which one suits you the best based on your reporting, based upon your usage. Our VXX tool can give you a better understanding and a view to your network usage overall, and then we can work with you to help you get to the level that you want to go to. We have partners who have moved up from a lower point level at 360 to 10,000 or 18,000 points level just in the span of about 2 or 3 months, because they realize the real potential of the program. So sky's the limit if you join this program on a consumption-based model. Again, this is based on when you are having your own infrastructure and you want to build on top of it. You want to install all those softwares there and add up some of the PSO services on top. One of the key selling points for this program is the rental portion, which is that it helps you optimize your investments on the perpetual model, you will be there'll be huge investment to start with, but when you're going for a rental model, you'll be paying every month on what you use. So, for example, you had certain VMs that you were using before, and the next month you do not need those. You can switch them off, and they will not be considered in for your billing. And this is one of the key selling points, because it actually helps you realize your VMware or virtualization dream per se, because you'll be paying per month. Let's move on to the next slide, please. On the rental model, and we can go deeper into these things in the future webinars, but as of now, VMware is offering this bundle called Flex Bundle. It's been available since May 1st, 2019, and it's going to be officially launched into the portal and visible into the portal by 31st of October this year. But if you look at the stack of the softwares that are offered under this bundle, it actually gives you a 360 approach to all segments of setting up a proper MSP in your data center. So from the management standpoint, you would have vCloud Director and vRealize Log Insight. For metering and billing purpose, you'll be having an appliance called Usage Meter. By the way, this can be automated. That's called vCloud Usage Insight. That's actually alone a biggest subject to discuss, and I can give you a presentation later on specifically to that. But it's a little appliance that you install in your vCenter, and it would record your data, and then it will be easier for you to navigate through the proper usage and report it. Networking, you have NSX Data Center, SP Base. Compute, you got vSphere Enterprise Plus and vCenter Server Standard, and you'll be getting a production level support. Next slide, please. A few slides back, we actually talked about the greener part of this program, which was the MSP version of this program. The MSP version of this program enables you to leverage upon VMware's data center instead of building up your own. So for any given reason, let's suppose you don't want to invest too much in your own data center, there is still a life out there for the partners who want to start up as quick as possible. The only catch is not everything is offered under MSP program. There are few services, but these are really good, vital services. So from mobility perspective, you will have Workspace ONE. From desktop virtualization, you will have Horizon Cloud. For VMC, and you have VMC and AWS for bigger level scope of things. And you have Cloud Health for cloud optimization and cloud investment optimization perspective. And now the latest inclusion is Velocloud. The basic structure and the difference between the MSP program in terms of its operations versus the rental model is that in this case, aggregator stays at the same level. We will be a billing party for you guys. But in this case, because it's a SaaS-based program, there is no product consumption and as per se in record. So we'll be a billing party in this case. The difference between the rental model versus the MSP model is that in the rental model, we'll be looking at your reports and reviewing your product usage and help you grow in a certain segments if we can. But in this case, you'll have a lot more control. Aggregators will be just looking after your reporting. Serves as a billing agent for VMware for services consumed by the MSP. Next slide, please. Now, under the MSP program, as I mentioned, there are a few segments of things that are offered, and this portfolio is expanding throughout the year. I mean, we have been having conversations with VMware where we have seen exponential growth in different offerings that are being given under this program, and this actually is a good news for a lot of partners who find restricted a little bit when they are going for an MSP program versus a rental model program, is that now you can have a really big persona-based approach, rather than what the purpose of this presentation and also the conversations we have with the partner is not only to help you sell more products, but also changing the mindset from selling a product-focused approach or going for a product first focused approach to a solution selling approach, where the questions for you would not be that whether you want to sell a product like vSphere or something, but we would tell you, okay, do you want to build disaster recovery as a service? Do you want to build mobility as a service? Do you want to build Kubernetes or containers as a service? And this is the conversation that MSP usually have. This is the conversation we want to have with our partners also, because that's an approach difference. That's a very long-term approach as well. As you can see, that for desktop, we have Horizon Cloud, Workspace ONE, AirWatch for mobility, HCX for hybrid cloud extension, Cloud Health for optimization, the cloud usage in terms of cost management, VMC and AWS, Log Insight. So you'll be covered in a lot of different ways, and you can offer different services and different revenue streams you can generate for yourself using these services. Next slide, please. Another thing I want to touch on is what we call Cloud Verified. Now, Cloud Verified is an interesting proposition because it helps you maximize your reach, both from the technical standpoint to a better segment of the market, but also leveraging on your ability to be showcased or cataloged on VMware's portal, where VMware technically stands behind you and say, these designs provided by these partners are verified based on the VMware designs, and that's actually a good thing to approach your customers with, because it gives you a lot of confidence that this partner is technically rich enough to be able to solve your problem. When you see the VMware Cloud Verified logo, you'll know that you can easily access the full set of capabilities of VMware Cloud Infrastructure, get the ultimate in cloud choices for the partners. You will be displayed on VMware's portal as well, and partners can be very confident, and customers can be very confident reaching out to you, knowing that you're Cloud Verified. Next slide. So as I mentioned before, what we want to think is not in terms of just a product, but also in terms of a solution that you can offer. And there's a huge range for it. Something, and generally speaking, there's actually a real thing called everything as a service, or XaaS, which is an approach that gives you a capability of offering multiple solutions to your customers, from disaster recovery as a service, or migration as a service, or Kubernetes, as I mentioned before. And the products that are offered by VMware itself are really collaborative products. So whenever you're having a conversation with your customers, rather than having a product-based conversations, a broader conversation and a better conversation would be to think about solutions, and with those services, you can top it up with your own PSS services, and that would be adding up a lot of margin for you. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is the latest inclusion, SD-WAN, Velocloud. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what SD-WAN can do for you, and how you can see a bigger picture of different offerings that you can give to your customers. SD-WAN, generally speaking, actually solves a lot of problem, but three major segments of the problem, from the management standpoint to performance standpoint, and also from your cloud access. So as you can see on the top, they have VMware SD-WAN Orchestrator. Let's take a case, a use case for that is, let's say you want to actually onboard a branch. What will happen is there'll be an appliance that we call Velocloud Edge. It's an x86 appliance instead of a router. Generally speaking, when you're doing it in a conventional manner, you'll be having a router and you'll have to manually configure it. With Velocloud Edge x86 appliance, someone at the branch connects that to internet, check the email, and you don't need to be an IT expert. Once you download the orchestration, the configuration would be automatically downloaded with it, and it would be so quick for you to onboard any branch. So from the management perspective, it's actually a really ideal solution for onboarding branches. If you go into the performance side, you have different offerings at the moment which have additional subscription cost attached to it, and 4 to 8 weeks of deployment timeline. With Edge, you can use a simple internet or a 4G connection and just plug in the box, and this actually solves your networking problem. And performance have two distinct segments. Number one is this network deployment time as well as cost optimization, but also from the app performance standpoint, SD-WAN is using what we call DMPO technology. It actually helps you monitor the latency and the jitter and packet loss, and you will be able to make a better informed decision in the process. Edge device, at the branch, detects all the apps traffic coming in and will switch it to the best link available, and the end user experience would be end user would not be able to even notice if there was a latency or not, because all those decisions are made on software level from SD-WAN. So it's a software driven wide area network for you, and then this remediation helps you gain a better customer set, because they would not be able to see any latency or packet loss in the process. On the cloud side, let's suppose one of your branch wants to use Office 365 or any other SaaS application. The enterprise app, the usual process is backhauling, which is a very long process. It would access the internet, the branch to data center, and choose the secure network, and then go to that app, and that's actually a very long process. The solution for that is called Cloud Gateway Device. That's the app that sits very close to the SaaS application. Edge device at the branch builds up a secure tunnel to the cloud gateways, and it gives you, number one, it solves the problem of backhauling and then going through a longer route to access the application by giving tunneling, but also gives you more control on the performance of the app. And it's especially for the enterprise application where enterprises cannot afford to lose connectivity. SD-WAN seems like the best fit. Next slide, please. So given what capabilities we can explore on SD-WAN, there are many segments you can explore. You can have multinational enterprises, retail subsegments, large enterprises, mid-tier enterprises, and unified communication. All these areas you can access through, you can access the markets in these areas through SD-WAN opportunity. Next slide. And as the verticals are concerned, it actually is everywhere. So you can see it has its uses in retail and logistics and transport and manufacturing and communication and financial services. Building out, for example, a simple app as a payment app in a conventional or legacy manner would take a lot of things to consideration, from accessing to mainframe to accessing an app on the data center. All of these can be sorted out and solved and optimized using SD-WAN. Next slide, please. As I mentioned before about the MSP part of the VCPP program, the MSP part is a dollar-based commitment, and the rental model is a consumption-based commitment. Velocloud sits on the dollar-based commitment part of the MSP. This is the latest new inclusion in that catalog. The process is just as similar to any other MSP services. Ingram Micro, or as an aggregator, our job is to make sure that we are the best billing party for you. We solve your invoicing problem. We solve any problem with the reporting in the process, but generally speaking, we are just the billing party, and MSPs would be owning the terms of service in this process. There's an additional step to Velocloud, which is the hardware amendment documentation that you might have to go through, because with Velocloud SD-WAN, the partners are going to be responsible for shipping out the hardware, and they'll be getting it from VMware directly. Whereas in the perpetual model, the distributors are involved in this process of freight charging and everything, but with the cloud provider program and under MSP program, as a partner, you'll be responsible. So that actually gives you a better control in the whole logistics of the product itself. Next slide, please. For Velocloud competency level, you would need to have these competencies with you: VSP mobility, VTSP mobility, deploy and manage. There's a fee to it, which is $8.95, which is the Partner Connect fee. Now, there's one strongly recommended courses or accreditation, which is VMware SD-WAN Troubleshoot. Highly recommend to do those. The more you're technically equipped with this knowledge base would help you answer questions from your users, also better understand the process itself. Next slide, please. So talking about how you can join this program, it's a very simple process, just as easy as 1, 2, 3. You select the route you want to go to, and what I mean by route, you need to define whether you want to go the rental model, which is a consumption-based model, or you want to go an MSP model, which is a dollar-based commitment model. You select that. You define the point plan if you're in the rental model. You define the dollar-based commitment if you're on the MSP model, and sign up the contract. Now, contract is going to be between Ingram Micro and the partners, or with you, and what it enables you to understand what are expectations set for you, and also expectations from us, from your reporting standards to terms and conditions related to the product usage itself. The additional part, obviously, that comes with Velocloud is the hardware amendment, and that is going to be a commitment between you as a partner and VMware itself. Ingram Micro would not be part of that agreement. Next slide. So talking about Ingram Micro, Ingram Micro is the only distributor in Australia that manages the full spectrum of VMware technologies, from the perpetual licensing, from the subscription model licensing, or cloud provider model licensing, all of it under one roof. And that actually simplifies your invoicing and billing issues, as well as your the solutions that you're looking for, because we are technically rich as well as business in terms of competency wise. We are highly invested in our business. So we have dedicated people who are dealing with VCPP program. We have dedicated BDMs. I'm dedicated to VMware Cloud Provider Program as a product manager. We have technical resources engaged who can assist you in this process and sorting out your technical issues. We do have PSO services as well. At the same time, there are different other services that we can offer, such as Ingram Micro Financial Services as well. So reach out to us and talk to us, and we'll be able to get you on board with this program as quick as possible. Next slide, please. And if you want to have any questions answered for VCPP program, talk to us. My name is Umer. I'm the product manager for VCPP program. You can contact me anytime. Michael Musa is the BDM dedicated to VCPP program and have a full stack of knowledge about this program. So talk to us. We welcome any questions in the process. We'll help you get on board. We'll help you get educated on this rental and very easy model to adapt to for realizing your VMware execution dream. And with this, I think we're about on time. So that is it. Thank you so much for joining in the call today. Let's wait for a minute or so for the questions if we have. So one of the questions that we get from the VCPP standpoint is, how do we calculate the usage? I would recommend you highly reading through the documentation offered by VMware, because VMware is really good at is providing the collateral that can help you understand the technology from the architecture standpoint to also the business savvy knowledge base. So if you go into the Partner Connect portal and just search for the documentation around VMware technology, it would give you heaps of PDFs and presentation files around it. Another question that we get is Velocloud going to be a part of the rental? This is what I answered before. It's a part of the MSP program. So if you go back to second slide, please, third slide, from the start. Yeah, this one. Next one. One more. Yeah, this one. Okay, yeah. So you see the green part. This is the MSP program, and this is where different services are offered. Cloud Health is offered under it. VMC and AWS is offered under it. Mobility, AirWatch, and Workspace ONE is offered under it. Cloud Health is offered under it. Velocloud is also a part of this program. Okay, well, I guess these are the only questions we got. So I would like to thank you all once again for joining this session, and we'll have more planned up for the future. Every month we'll go with one more session, deep diving into technology as well as the business aspects and revenue generation segment of this program, and how we can help you enable to make the best revenue stream out of this. So please reach out to us. Thank you so much once again for joining, and stay safe. Thanks.